Hey everyone, my name is Anmol Jalota, and today, we thought we'd talk about something that is very, very relevant to complete any project. And this is not specific to any development project or a testing project per se, but and the thing that we are going to discuss about, I'm going to talk about today, is as per me, if you ask me, is the basis of any kind of planning that we do for any work that needs to be completed. So the topic for the day, guys, today is estimations. What do we understand when we say the term estimations? So there are many ways in which somebody would probably sit back and talk about what estimations actually mean. But to make things easier, let's just talk about effort estimation first. I think that's the easiest thing to comprehend, to understand, and probably the easiest thing to actually explain in a very short span of time. Of course, this is not something which is very easy to do. And, again, if you ask me, I think it takes a lot of practice for someone to be able to estimate good enough so that your project doesn't end up having a lot of variances. And mind you, when I say that you don't want a lot of variances, we don't want positive or negative variances. How that translates into, not being good, positive variance in the sense that, you're able to complete your work well before the time, every time. That probably says that, you could have picked up more work, so that is when you're planning, you're not planning well. So anything that takes more time than your estimate or takes less time than your estimates eventually means that, you're not able to plan your project well enough. So talking about, coming back to effort estimates, what is effort estimate? I get some requirement and then I have to go out and deliver it. Now the first question that generally comes into mind, and let's not be very gung-ho about whether we are following agile or we're following the iterative or the waterfall model. This is something which is spanned methodologies and frameworks and everything. So you get a requirement and you are expected to deliver that thing, and that requirement. The first thing when you're planning for that project is you decide how much time that particular deliverable will take from your end. Of course, there are many factors that help, that contribute in estimations, the capacity, how many people you have, the scope and everything. But then once you have finalized everything, say you have the finalized scope and everything, that's when you go back and start working on how much effort or time you're basically going to take to complete that piece of work. There are many ways to estimate a project, but let's talk about something which is very simple, which I think all of us also do as a part of our everyday work, but sometimes we are not able to give it a proper tone, so that is something called the work breakdown structure. Now, what is a work breakdown structure? It's nothing fancy. What it just means is that whatever requirement you get, you try and break it down to the lowest level or the granular level. That's a level where you can sit back and assume, okay, at this level, this piece of work would probably take this amount of time. Because the bigger the requirement, the bigger the number of validations, the more the number of validations you have, it gets very tough on us to come up with a figure that would probably be closer to the time that it would take. But the moment we start to break it down and we bring it at a granular level, it gets very easy, for us to actually come up with some number of days or hours that we will take to finish that particular piece. And eventually you've broken down your entire requirement into many such pieces, and then you do a sum total. Always make sure that you're putting in some buffer there, always. Like, I'll tell you what, I'll take an example of a testing project, so generally the way that I help my team do estimates is, I tell them break it down, and then break it into 4-5 main pieces. So one is, take out the time for test authoring. Of course, the requirement analysis is there, but then after that, the time to do the authoring, the time to do the execution. Then of course, because it's a testing project, we expect to log a few bugs, so time to do retesting, and then regression, of course. And then on top of it, make a buffer of some contingency, a buffer of say 10%, 15%, considering what your project has been, what suits your project the most, and come up with a figure. That ideally is the time that you spend to deliver a set of things that you've agreed upon. So trust me, guys, when you're talking about estimates, please be mindful of the fact that we are not looking to take more time, but we are also not looking to take less time. And I'm not saying that every time when you start doing your work, you're always bang on. Of course, there's bound to be a certain amount of variance. But what that means is that with time you get better, and better planning means you can pick up more things. You can pick up things that you will be able to fit in your schedule, So once again, wrapping up, saying that able to do estimates is one of the most important things. Go out and see there are multiple other techniques. WBS is the simplest one there, but there are many other techniques that you can go about, read about them. Maybe we can talk about it in our next video. But for now, pay more attention to your estimates. The better you have them, the better your project plan is, the better your deliverables will be made in the stipulated timelines. Thank you very much.